What is the Cottage Meeting Project? That's the first question moms ask. What is it? How do you do it? How much time does it take? And while we can certainly answer those questions, the most important question is why the Cottage Meeting Project? I have a friend who teaches at Schofield Army Barracks Elementary School in Hawaii. A few years ago, she told me her school that sits on a military base does not require the children to pledge the flag. But my friend, being the good patriot she is, brings her 5th grade class in every day to pledge that flag, and they grumble and complain. Why do we have to do this? This is dumb. No one else is doing it. And all I could think when she told me this was the parents of those children put their lives on the line every day for that flag and everything it stands for. If those children don't have a love, understanding, and appreciation for the flag, what hope do we have for the future of our country? But then my friend told me she spends the first few weeks of every school year explaining why we pledge the flag. And then the children in her class encourage the other kids to do it. Because when we can teach them why we pledge the flag, they don't question whether or not they should. I shared this story at my first cottage meeting. There were 9 women at that first meeting. One of the women, Ashley, was a 24-year-old mother of 2 little boys. I showed the film Monumental as part of the meeting. At the end of the film, Kirk Cameron says, "I'm all in. Are you?" The day after my cottage meeting, I received a phone call from Ashley, who said, "I'm all in." "That's wonderful," I replied. "No, wait," she continued. "I want you to understand. I didn't know what a cottage meeting was. I came because you're my friend. I wanted to support you, and you were serving brownies." But she continued, "I couldn't sleep last night. And this is all I could think about all day." Maybe the schools aren't having the kids pledge the flag anymore, but that doesn't stop me from going to Walmart, buying a little flag, and pledging that flag every morning with my little boys. That's when I realized just how powerful cottage meetings are. A group of writers and professors in the early 1900s realized this too when they created the Delphian Society, stating 10 small discussion groups in the community will do more to create a new way of life than 100 mass meetings with 1,000 in attendance at each. And what happens when those discussion groups are led by moms? Magic happens. Just ask St. Patrick. Sometime around 431 AD, St. Patrick traveled to Ireland to teach Christianity to a people who were at the time a violent, corrupt, and paganistic culture. All those who went before him went to convert a pagan nation, spending their time with warlords and tribal leaders trying to win favor with the men. But when St. Patrick arrived on the shores of Ireland, he had a much different idea. Instead of going with the intent to convert pagans, he went to serve a people. Instead of spending his time in councils with tribal leaders, he spent his days at the rivers where the women washed their clothes, and his nights at the fires where they cooked their meals. In spite of all the advice, training, and counsel he received to do otherwise, St. Patrick spent his time serving and teaching the women of Ireland because he firmly believed if he could convert the women, he would convert Ireland. And that is exactly what he did. St. Patrick's success in Ireland was so profound that it not only converted a nation, but it also became a beacon of light for the entire Christian world during years of the Dark Ages. St. Patrick could have gone to Ireland and done what everyone else had done before him, but he knew that if he did, the results would be short-lived. And he desired lasting change, the kind that only comes from deep faith of true conversion. What he needed was a mighty change of heart among the people of Ireland. And St. Patrick knew, if you want to change the hearts of the people of a nation, you go to the heart of that nation, the mothers. The story of the Hawaiian hula proves just how powerful a mother's influence is. While we have come to associate the hula with luau's and Hawaiian vacations, there was a time when it meant much more. The hula was how the Hawaiian people preserved their culture, their history, their heritage, and their language. In the early 19th century, when Christian missionaries came to Hawaii, the Queen converted to Christianity, and determining the hula to be an idol display, she issued an edict banning the hula. It was forbidden to perform or teach it. The hula had virtually vanished from public life. Decades later, a new monarch was on the throne. While traveling through Europe, King David was impressed with the music and theater unique to the area. As he explored the European culture further, he realized the uniqueness of his own culture. When the king returned to Hawaii, he called his advisors together and told them he wanted to bring back the hula. But he didn't know how. What did it look like? How was it even done? They thought the hula was dead. To their surprise, however, what they found was an entire nation of children who had been taught by their mothers. The government had outlawed the hula, but families preserved it in their homes. And when the king called for the hula, those children who had been taught by their mothers rose up and delivered it. That is the powerful influence of mothers. It is the influence we have on our nation when we create a foundation of liberty in our homes and nurture a love of liberty in the hearts of our children. Those seeds we plant will take root, and one day there will come a time when people will ask, "Where is liberty? And how do we do it?" And our children will rise up carrying the banner of freedom and say, "We know how to do it because our mothers taught us." That is the power of the Cottage Meeting Project. And that is the power of you. If you're concerned for the direction our nation is going and the future for your children, you have the power to change it simply by being who you are. As E.T. Sullivan so eloquently expressed, we fancy that God can only manage his world with battalions, when all the while he is doing it by beautiful babies. When a wrong wants righting, or a truth needs preaching, or a continent wants opening, God sends a baby into the world, perhaps in a simple home and of some obscure mother. And then God puts the idea into the mother's heart, and she puts it into the baby's mind. And then God waits. The greatest forces in the world are not earthquakes and thunderbolts. The greatest forces in the world are babies. Alex de Tocqueville declared, "Righteous women in their circle of influence, beginning in the home, can turn the world around." It's time to turn the world around, ladies. The future of America is literally in our hands. Never underestimate your influence. Never undervalue your importance. God has put the idea in your heart. And now, God waits.